All right, all right, all right. Welcome back to WMAC now with your host Chuck Stevenson, coming at you with a fight review. So we're going to UFC 245 in Las Vegas, Nevada. We're going to the co-main event, I guess you could call it, uh, bantamweight championship fight between the reigning defending champ Amanda the Lioness Nunes taking on Germaine the Iron Lady de Randamie. Nunes coming in 18-4. De Randamie coming in 9-3, and I'll be calling her GDR for short from here on out. So we get to first round. I honestly thought it was all Nunes. She had multiple times where she had knee on belly, which you just don't see that often in MMA. And then she also had a tight guillotine on GDR, and then a nice tight arm triangle closer to the end of the round. So first round was all Nunes. Second round, GDR started off fighting a little smarter. She stayed away from the fence, and her striking was doing good. She had some nice clinch work. She really forced Nunes to go for a takedown. At one point, there was a stand-up. I think it was a stand-up. GDR landed a nice, heavy question mark kick. And then there was some knees in a clinch by GDR, and again forced Nunes to take her down again. So second round, I scored it for GDR. Third round, an early double leg by Nunes. GDR was more active on bottom than expected, but Nunes was striking to the body and then the head, so she was mixing up where she was sending her punches and elbows. One point, Nunes had backed off, was standing above in her guard. Big up kick by GDR hurt Nunes, but then she really didn't capitalize on it. Nunes kind of like almost collapsed on top of her, but GDR just did nothing with it. Fourth round, even earlier takedown by Nunes. You could tell she was getting a little tired, and she didn't really want to stand with GDR anymore. So earlier than the last couple rounds, she took GDR down immediately past the half guard. There was some heavy ground and pound by Nunes. And then a scramble by Nunes to pass guard. And she got caught in a triangle by GDR, but she did manage to escape it. And then one point they got stood up again, or they might have stood up in a scramble. And another takedown by Nunes with some late ground and pound to finish the round. And then finally, the fifth round, probably the earliest takedown by Nunes. She decided, you know what? I'm not going to, mess around. Going to play it safe. Takedowns are working. Shot the earliest takedown she had out of any round. Mostly just landed light punches from both on the ground. Nunes landed just enough to stay active. GDR landing some punches with Nunes in her guard. Then late in the round, Nunes stood up, passed the side control, and that was basically at the very end of the round. The judges saw it 49-44, 49-46, and 49-45. I believe those were the correct scores that I heard for your winner, and still UFC bantamweight champion Amanda the Lioness Nunes. So congrats to Nunes on that. Okay, so thoughts on the fight. It was the first decision for Nunes since the second Shevchenko fight, and that was 2 years ago. I thought Nunes showed a lot in this fight. It was a bit of a challenge for her. It's probably the biggest challenge since the Shevchenko fight. Actually, it's definitely the biggest challenge since the second Shevchenko fight. I think that Nunes showed that, she's more than just a first round finish machine. She can go the distance, and she can fight a smart fight and do what it takes to get the win and stay on top, which sometimes, hey, as a champ, sometimes that's what you have to do. You have to fight smart. You have to do what is necessary when you're facing a tough opponent like Germaine de Randamie is. And then, for me, it showed growth as a champion by Nunes. She's not just a one round and done, cardio deficit big puncher anymore. She still has the wrestling ability. She still has the jiu-jitsu ability. She still has heavy ground and pound. She's like a true total package champion now. And I think she showed growth as a champion in this fight by demonstrating all of those things. And then finally, I thought, GDR, she's a master stand-up fighter, but her weak takedown defense is always going to be it's always going to hold her back, always going to be, I can't think of the word right now, not a deficit. It's a weakness. It's always going to hold her back. Can't think of the word I want to use, unfortunately. All right, so things to work on for Germaine de Randamie. Takedown defense, takedown defense, takedown defense. I mean, that's just her biggest weakness still. And then she also needs to, she kept her guard open for the most part, but she wasn't really working to create scrambles. She wasn't using the butterflies to sweep. She wasn't working to create scrambles. She just didn't do enough to, fight off Nunes' ground and pound. Granted, hey, you're against the best in the world, and who's also good at, maintaining top control and laying down ground and pound. So, I mean, that's no slight on her. It's just that it's something that she needs to work on. As for Nunes, biggest thing commentators pointed out, and I think is good advice, when she's passing guard from a standing position, she's standing someone's guard, make sure to lead with the hips when trying to pass the guard, because that's what really subjected her to that big upkick in the second round. Yeah, third round. She was kind of standing over, almost leaning over her, trying to pass guard. If she had stood back and led with her hips, kept her head back, it'd have been easier to avoid the upkick and harder for GDR to land it. As for matches to make, so for Germaine de Randamie, I would like to see the Holly Holm rematch if Holm gets past Raquel Pennington. So Holm is facing Pennington at, I believe, UFC 246 next month. I believe that's when that fight goes. So that's what I'd like to see, or a possible Aspen Ladd rematch, but I don't know how many people want to see that. I'm not that big on seeing that. I mean, GD already exposed Ladd striking. As for Nunes, so she has 3 possible opponents. One of them hasn't been as active recently, but 3 fighters all circling around the top 5. So you got Aspen Ladd, who is just coming off a win over Kunitskaya, although she had that loss to GDR before that. Only, not that long ago. There's Juliana Pena, who hasn't been as active, but she is back. She had 1 fight this year against Nico Montano. She won. Maybe give Pena another fight. Or you have Irene Aldana, who just took out a top 5 fighter in Ketlin Vieira. So she has a choice of those 3, or possibly face 2 of those to face each other, and then face the winner of that. That's in the bantamweight division. As for featherweight, which she's most likely to defend next, your guess is as good as mine there. I mean, honestly, that's such a dead division. It was dead in the water. It was like stillborn, practically. So that's who Nunes has potential to face. So those are my overall thoughts on the fighter overall. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Of course, likes are always appreciated. And hey, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to WMMA Scene Now, the best, fastest growing women's mixed martial arts dedicated platform on YouTube. Don't forget to hit that bell for notifications. We'll see you next time.